For today, I've got another interesting video planned. What I'm going to be doing is determining the best possible starting five from each different NBA draft class over the last decade, so from 2010 up until 2019, taking players from that draft and coming up with the best possible starting five that we can. I just made recently another kind of starting five video like this where I determined the best possible starting five from different countries, and you guys seem to enjoy that video, so I'm back here again with another one. And as you know, if you watch the channel, I do love looking back at past drafts and seeing who the best players were. I have done a series on this channel where I redraft every single draft of this decade up until 2015, so all the way from 2010 until 2015. So if you haven't already checked that out, I'll definitely link the playlist down below in the description so you can go ahead and check it out. For today, we're looking at the drafts from 2010 until 2019 and determining the best possible starting five. Before we get started, if you guys are new to the channel, make sure you subscribe and let's get to it. So starting off with the 2010 draft class, the starting five I came up with this one is John Wall, Eric Bledsoe, Gordon Hayward, Paul George, and DeMarcus Cousins. The honorable mention for this one goes to Hassan Whiteside, but other than that, really these five guys stand out in this draft. And if I'm being honest, when it comes to overall careers for these players, this starting five is probably one of, if not the worst of the video. But when we look at these players in their primes, this is a very dominant starting five. We have MVP candidate Paul George, MVP candidate DeMarcus Cousins, prime John Wall, who was very speedy and athletic in his prime, an incredible playmaker, and probably scored around 25 points per game as well. Then we have Gordon Hayward, who in his prime is scoring around 20 points per game as well, and Eric Bledsoe, who in his prime is definitely an all defensive caliber player. When it comes to overall careers, as I mentioned, it's not the greatest of the video, and there's definitely a lot of better starting fives of the other draft classes, but that's the starting five for this one. Now for 2011, on the other hand, this one might be the very best of the video when it comes to a starting five, and I can see the 2011 draft class maybe going down as one of the best draft classes ever. In terms of the starting five, it's absolutely stacked. We've got Kyrie Irving, Klay Thompson, Kawhi Leonard, Jimmy Butler, and Nikola Vucevic, with honorable mentions here going to Kemba Walker, Isaiah Thomas, who as we know is an MVP candidate in his prime, and Tobias Harris, who this year is playing like an all-star caliber player as well. When it comes to the starting five, you've got a top 30 of all-time player in Kawhi Leonard, who we know he can do it, top 5 in the league when he's in his prime on both ends of the floor. And then we have two all-time greats as well in Kyrie Irving and Klay Thompson, who can both shoot the lights out, and Kyrie would be the main ball handler. A very clutch scorer in Jimmy Butler, who can also light it up on both ends of the floor. And then a player who's playing like one of the best centers in the league this season in Vucevic, and he's the weak point of this starting five, as you can see, but the way he's been playing recently in today's NBA shows me that he's an all-star caliber player. This starting five might be the best of the video. Moving on to 2012 now, and this starting five is stacked as well, one of the best of the video. We've got Damian Lillard, Bradley Beal, Chris Middleton, Draymond Green, and Anthony Davis. So we've got basically two guys that have consistently been top 10 players in the current league in Damian Lillard and Anthony Davis. We have a guy who's playing incredible this season and leading the league in scoring in Bradley Beal, Chris Middleton, who can also consistently score more than 20 points per game, and then Draymond to basically do anything else like playmaking, rebounding, and being the team's main defender. And when you look at this team at the start, you've got guys like Damian Lillard and Bradley Beal, who can obviously score around 30 points per game, basically score anywhere on the floor. But with them and Chris Middleton, the team isn't looking great defensively. But then you've got Draymond Green and Anthony Davis coming in there. Draymond can guard anyone on the floor at any time, and Anthony Davis is so good defensively that he's probably the favorite this season for Defensive Player of the Year until he got injured, and he can basically guard two players at once in the pick and roll. This team overall, in basically every aspect of the game, would be a championship team and probably a top 3 starting five in terms of draft classes in this video. For the 2013 starting five, it has Dennis Schroeder, Victor Oladipo, CJ McCollum, Giannis, and Rudy Gobert. And originally when the 2013 draft happened, a lot of people thought it was going to probably be one of the worst draft classes that we've ever seen, especially since Anthony Bennett turned out as the biggest bust of all time. But really this draft class turned into a decent class. It's probably around the average stage in this video when it comes to ranking these ones in the 2010s decade, but we do have Giannis and a lot of overall good players. It's a pretty deep class when you look at it fully. And then in terms of the starting five, it's pretty average, but better than we expected originally. We've got Dennis Schroeder and Victor Oladipo to man the backcourt, CJ McCollum to pretty much provide consistent 25 points per game scoring along with lethal shooting, and then good luck scoring against this team in the paint because they literally have two DPOYs in Giannis and Rudy Gobert. You're literally not scoring against this team in the paint. And then you also have Victor Oladipo, who made an all-defensive first team at one point in his career. This team would without a doubt be a championship team as well with the defense that they have and Giannis to lead the way on offense. Quick intermission at this stage of the video. I forgot for the last 2 years to do the honorable mentions. For the 2012 draft class, the honorable mentions go to Andre Drummond and Harrison Barnes, and then for 2013 they go to Tim Hardaway Jr. and Steven Adams. For the 2014 one, this one is stacked as well. Definitely over average for the video. We've got Spencer Dinwiddie, Zach LaVine, Andrew Wiggins, Nikola Jokic, and Joel Embiid, the two best centers in the league on the same team. This one was a very hard starting five to make because there's tons of great players in this draft class, and it's a very deep class. I've got 3 honorable mentions here for Julius Randle and Jeremy Grant, who probably both of them will be in the starting five eventually at some point in their career if they keep playing the way they are this season, and then also Clint Capella, who is a very good defensive player but can't make the starting five because he's competing with Nikola Jokic and Joel Embiid. But anyway, when it comes to this team as a starting five, Dinwiddie and Wiggins might be weak spots since they're probably not top 50 players, but they are good defensively. Zach LaVine can consistently score around 25 per game, and then when you have the best 2 centers in the league on your team, you're going to be a championship team without a doubt, especially when it comes to Jokic's playmaking, and then Joel can basically handle most of the load on defense and in the paint. For 2015 and their starting five, this one is a little bit underwhelming and probably under average for the video, but we still have 5 very good young players in this starting five. We've got D'Angelo Russell, Devin Booker, Kelly Oubre, Kristaps Porzingis, and Karl Anthony Towns. Honorable mentions for this one go to Miles Turner, Montrezl Harrell, and Terry Rozier. And then when it comes to this starting five, they'd obviously be a championship contender, but they might not win it just because they don't really have a top 10 player on the team, and there wasn't a top 10 player in this draft class, but we do have a lethal duo in Devin Booker and Karl Anthony Towns, and then tons of shooting on this team. Everyone on this team can shoot, especially their big men with Kristaps Porzingis and Karl Anthony Towns, who at points throughout their career can shoot the lights out and shoot around 40% from 3. This team's defense wouldn't be great. It's definitely under average for the video. They do have Kristaps Porzingis and Kelly Oubre, but other than that, not a lot of good defenders, and probably an under average starting five for the video, but this draft class still definitely has a lot of young talent. For 2016, we have a very good and overall well-rounded team. We've got Ben Simmons, Jaylen Brown, Brandon Ingram, Pascal Siakam, and then Domantas Sabonis at center. For honorable mentions for this one, I have Jamal Murray, who would get the spot if he plays this year in the playoffs like he did last year. So dominant scoring in the playoffs, but with the way he's playing this season, I just have to take Ben Simmons over him very slightly. And then also we've got Malcolm Brogdon and Buddy Hield, who also are playing very well in 2021. But when you look at this team as a whole, it's so well-rounded. You've got Ben Simmons as your Defensive Player of the Year candidate and your main playmaker, Jaylen Brown as an all-defensive caliber player and one of your main scorers, Brandon Ingram as one of the best scorers in the league, one of the most smooth players, and an off-ball shooter, Pascal Siakam, who can play in the post, be a good rebounder, and score a lot down low, and then Domantas Sabonis, who can be your main defender down low, and is really one of the best rebounders in the league. If I were to try to do a redraft of this draft, it would be so hard, especially now, because all of these players are really in the same category, and that's the reason they're not one of the very best of this video, is because they don't have a true superstar, but it's a very well-rounded team with probably all of these players being in the top 30 in the league. Moving on to 2017, and really for the last 3 starting fives of the video, 17, 18, and 19, they're all going to be very young players, and the starting fives are going to get better as the years go on. But in terms of right now, the starting five for 2017, we've got De'Aaron Fox, who's without a doubt breaking out this season, Donovan Mitchell, Jason Tatum, John Collins, and Bam Adebayo. This team will be very good on both ends of the floor. Defensively, they pretty much have all over average defenders. On the offensive end, they have Jason Tatum and Bam as their main duo, along with Donovan Mitchell, who can give you 25 points per game, and De'Aaron Fox, who's proving to be a very dominant scorer this season. And overall, this is a very good young team who will probably go down as an over-average draft class in this video as the years go by. A quick honorable mention for this one goes to Kyle Kuzma as well, but right now he doesn't have the skill set to make the starting five. For 2018, the starting five for this draft class is Trae Young, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Luka Doncic, Jaren Jackson Jr., and DeAndre Ayton. This is a very tough one to make. I actually have 4 honorable mentions going to Colin Sexton, Devontae Graham, Marvin Bagley, and Michael Porter Jr., with MPJ and Colin Sexton being guys that I can definitely see being in the starting five of this as the years go by. For now, I have to give the shooting guard spot to Shai and the power forward spot to Jaren Jackson Jr. because of how good he is defensively. Overall, this team would be good, led by Luka. Their defense is not great, but they still do have a good perimeter defender in Shai and a good inside defender in Jaren Jackson Jr., who's versatile, and DeAndre Ayton to protect the rim. And then on offense, obviously they'd be led by Luka. They have Trae Young as well to handle the ball and be a very good playmaker. They have shooters as well off the ball, and DeAndre Ayton to man the paint, man the post, and grab rebounds. This is a very good overall team with lots of different talent from different aspects in the game, and they're going to get better as the years go by. And now we've got 2019, and for this one, it's a very young class, obviously, and we basically just have to base this off of how the players have done in their first year and a half in the league. The starting five I've put together so far is Ja Morant, Tyler Hero, RJ Barrett, Zion Williamson, and Brandon Clark. Honorable mentions going to Kobe White, DeAndre Hunter, and Darius Garland. Probably a few of them will be in the starting five in the future, but for now, we definitely have Ja Morant and Zion as the main duo here, Tyler Hero and RJ Barrett as players that are obviously still developing, and then the reason I put Brandon Clark here at center is because I think he has the skill set to be a center. He can also stretch the floor and play very good defense, and he's very good at rolling to the basket. If you guys watch the channel, you know how high I am on Brandon Clark and how I think he's a very good role player, and overall, this starting five has a lot of potential, and I think if Zion and Ja Morant end up going down as MVP caliber players like the players that we expect them to be, and the other players in the draft have good development, then I think this draft class could go down as one of the best we've ever seen in the future. That's just my hot take though, because I think that both Ja Morant and Zion have the potential to be MVPs. And in terms of this starting five right now, it's very good overall and obviously lots of potential here. So there you have it. That is the end of today's video. If I had to choose the best 3 starting fives of the video, I would probably go with 2011, 2012, and 2014, and then an honorable mention basically to 2019, since I think that one has the potential to be one of the best if the players get the right development and live up to the hype of what we think they're going to be. Thank you all for watching this video. If you enjoyed, be sure to leave a like and subscribe if you're new. If this video gets a good amount of likes, I will definitely continue with these starting five type of videos because they're fun to make, and with the first one you guys seem to enjoy it. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all next video.